Okay, let's try this question now. It's one of the last questions on the worksheet. So we have 10m2 plus 89m minus 9. So as you can see, is there a greatest common factor? Meaning, are there any common factors between the three terms? No. So I am now having to list out some of the factors. So let's try it. So the factors of 10 are 1 and 10, 2 and 5. I'm going to leave the left side pretty blank. And then for the 9, I have 1 and 9, but I could also write it as 9 and 1. The reason this matters is because if I just leave it at 1 over 9, I will consider it this way, but I will never be able to consider it this way with a 2 and 1. So that's why I flip it as well on the C side. I mean, you could really do the same thing on the A side, but there's no point of doing it both on the A and C side because then you're going to get the same combinations. So you have 1 and 9, 9 and 1, 3 and 3, and no point of writing it twice. So when you're doing these questions, you need to pay attention to what kind of number do you want to multiply to with the signs. So in my case, I've had a lot of practice with this, so it's coming really automatically. But basically, we want to multiply to a -9. That means I want to have how many negatives? I want to have one negative based on the fact that I have this -9. Meanwhile, I want to add to a positive 89. So just in case it helps, I'll write, okay, multiply to C, which is the -9, and I want to add to the B value, which is 89. So when I think about that, I'm not going to put the negative sign, but I just want to get the right numbers right now. So I have 2 times 9, 18, 5, that's never going to add or subtract to 89. 2 times 1, that's 2. 9 times 5 is 45. 45, 2, that's never going to get 89. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. That's never going to get 8 and 9. That probably means this combination will hopefully work. So I have 10 times 1, which is 10. 1 and 9, that's 9. That's going to get me like a 19 or 1, depending on how I subtract it. But I have 10 and 9, which is 90, and then 1 and 1, which is 1. So I know that if I work with this number, I might get the right combination. So I said 10 and 9 and 1 and 1. Well, 10 and 9 is 90, 1 and 1 is 1. So where do I want the negative? Well, I don't want the negative here because that's going to equal a -89. I want the negative there. That's how I decide. So I'm going to put a negative there, a negative there, and that equals 89. So this is my rough work. I usually do this in my head, or you can maybe use a separate line piece of paper, maybe put it on the side, and you get 89. So that means, so I don't lose track, I was dealing with 1 and 10 and 9 and 1 as a reminder. So where do I put the negative sign? So I put the negative not here because that's going to get me the -89, but I want it here. And remember, we're doing it crisscross way when we're finding the right pair. So once you've done that, when you are listing it, you have to write it horizontally. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to write it this way, meaning, okay, I could have had 1m and 10m that multiplies to 10m squared. So I'm going to write 1m, which is just really m, plus 9. I'm writing it horizontally. That's what I mean. Just left to right, not in a crisscross way. I only do the crisscross when I'm doing the check. This is like the crisscross check. So then I get m plus 9 and 10m minus 1, like that. Do I keep going? Well, the question was to factor. It wasn't to solve. If they asked to solve, then I would have to go and figure out what m is and what m is, like the x-intercepts. But it says just the factor, so I stop there. And that's it. If you want to double check on whether you completed this correctly, what you would do as like a check, which is separate, you would do FOIL on this and then check that it simplifies to 10m squared plus 89m minus 9.